We're going live, and I'm live. James Pratt, Comedy Chess Books. Enquiry from a very old, when I say old, I don't mean old in the paleontologist way. He is quite old, though. A friend, John Upham, from Cove in Hampshire. And his question is, did Johannes Zukertort become an English citizen? He clearly became an English resident, but that's not the same. Would I look through every single chess book I've got to try and find out the answer? And the answer is no, I won't be prepared to do that. My response is, come on, get real. I'm not going to do that. But what I am going to do is read you out something. Are you ready? Good. Zukertort was not insensitive to the new chess theories in the air, but basically he remained a romantic, unable to cope with the solidity of the Steinitz kind of play. Against his fellow romantics, however, Zukertort was capable of super chess. Well, that's nice, isn't it? One of its most famous games, and it quotes it, there it is against Blackburn. J.H. Blackburn, an extremely strong English master. Those two fiery personalities, Steinitz, who was world champion, and Zukertort, had a go at each other in 1872, and Zukertort was massacred, it says here. Steinitz won 7 games, Zukertort only 1, and 4 games were drawn. But Zukertort bounced back in Paris, 1878, with resounding first in London, 1883, where he came in 3 full points ahead of Steinitz. That is absolutely amazing to consider that he got 3 more points, get a point for a win, half for a draw, and nothing for a loss. Probably was that victory which restored Zukertort's confidence and gave him the urge to challenge the champion, that's Steinitz, once again. But it had to be an overseas challenge because probably a question of money. Anyway, I won't go on, but that gives you a little bit of background. John's question was, did Steinitz, I can't even say it, did Zukertort become a permanent naturalized Englishman in 1878, as claimed by the Encyclopaedia of Chess, written by a mutual friend of ours, albeit about 50 years ago, and Sunnucks. There's the book, which I still like, and I proudly have 2 copies of. And the answer to the question is, I don't know. I have been looking through various books I've got. I haven't got all of them that one might need, but I've got some. The first book I just quoted was this, Grandmasters of Chess by Schonberg. And this is unashamedly an outsider's view of the inside of chess, written about 45, 50 years ago. It received enormous criticism at the time, but I rather like it. It has some nice pictures. It has some good games. He has a fine ear, as befits a musician. He also wrote a book about composers, and he was based in New York, and where better to be based. I think it's a little unkind. They did a paperback update with a lot of corrections in it. I'm not sure he got the credit for that, though he did the corrections himself. I'm not fudging the issue at all. But there we are. Now, let us go on. Here we have a very recent and highly thought of, particularly by me, book by Dr. Tim Harding of Dublin aforesaid. It's called Eminent Victorian Chess Players, and it is the same copy, the same title as Eminent Victorians by Asa Briggs. Dr. Harding won't mind my saying that. And it deals with 10 people who, between 1837 and 1901, which were Queen Victoria's dates on the throne, she had a very, very long reign. The 10 people were, I can even find the page, so we're prepared, I haven't even got it. Let's see who they were. This book came out about 3 or 4 years ago. They were William Davies Evans, who was Welsh, I think, and invented the Evans Gambit. Howard Staunton, well, you obviously know about him. Lowenthal, John Jacob Lowenthal, Henry Edward Bird, well, you know a bit about Bird and 1F4, Arthur Boland Skipworth, Wilhelm, well, it says here, William, I'm just about to say Wilhelm Steinitz, Joseph Blackburn, who I mentioned just now, Johannes Hermann Zukertort, obviously that's what we're looking at today, Amos Byrne, and finally Isidore Arthur Gunsberg. Now there's a pretty venerable collection of 10 ne'er-do-wells, and the section, the chapter on Zukertort is 30 pages, and it's terrific. The whole book is amazing. It's published by McFarland. I'll put the details down below, and I strongly recommend it. It's about 400 pages, and Tim Harding is an amazing, he calls himself kibitzer and historian. There we are. I hope that the light isn't shining on it too much. And this book is absolutely fantastic. It would be my Desert Island book, no question. Now, Jimmy Adams, who was editor of Chess and has been a player, very retiring chess master for just about all his life, wrote this book. It was first published by Dale Brandreth in the United States, but recently, I'm not quite certain how recently, let's have a little look. Seven years ago, was reprinted with updates and additions, I'm sure, by New in Chess, who are a Dutch publisher, but this is in English, thankfully. And as you can see, I'll just show it to you, it's highly technical in figurine algebraic notation and gives a very wide sweep of pronouncements and quotations and extracts from other chess books. Nothing wrong with that. Jimmy no doubt knew what he was doing and formed a summation of the information. And obviously the bulk of the book is not biography. It is actually analysis of all the games. I haven't actually counted how many there are, probably rather a lot. It's a fantastic book, about 300, 200, yeah, just a little over 300 games. And it says Johannes Hermann Zukertort. Here's his dates. I didn't know this. 1842 to 1888. So he died in the year that Capablanca was born. Is undeniable one of the great chess players of chess history. Despite a commanding lead in the early stages of the match, Zukertort ultimately had to bow to Steinitz, plagued by health problems that would cause his untimely death only 2 years later. It says the high point of his career, well, we've already touched on that, was the Super Tournament of 1883 in London. And it mentions his dazzling win against Blackburn, which I give you a quick flash of in here. His dazzling win against Blackburn still stands as one of the greatest games of all time. And then it mentions about Jimmy himself. And there we are. And there it is. But the point is, ladies and gentlemen, the point is, I haven't answered John Upham's question. And there's a reason for that. I don't know the answer. I've been through Jimmy's book. And it's clear that Zukertort did come and live for some years in England, and he is in fact buried here. And the plot has been rededicated thanks to the efforts of the Grandmaster Stuart Conquest, who lives in Gibraltar. I think I'm wrong in saying. But he came over and pulled strings and raised money and did a terrific and respectfully so amount of work behind the scenes. And Zukertort was finally given a dedicated resting place in London. Basically, the only information I've got from this book, from Jimmy Adams's book, is that the Home Office has no record of Johannes Zukertort becoming a naturalized English person. England was his permanent home, naturalized in 1878. But we have no documentation to prove that. Well, I hope that Dr. Upham and you yourself will forgive me for this, but I think it has given me the excuse to talk about one of the most important players of the 19th century, and to put him alongside Blackburn or Amos Byrne or Lowenthal or Louis Paulson. He wasn't perhaps the, the glamour of Morphy, that flashing meteor, nor did he have a long career like, say, Blackburn, who popularized the game a lot more. But nevertheless, do not underestimate the name of Johannes Zukertort. So there we go. And thanks to John, and thank you for listening. Goodbye.